Just on jobs, can I just start by some of the comments you made over the weekend? How concerning is it to you that JobSeeker is actually standing in the way of some people accepting a job? And what does it mean about when JobSeeker should end?
Well, thanks for that. What I said was that the old rate of New Start allowance, which was around $40 a day, was too low. And I think that's been widely accepted as correct, and I hope the Commonwealth Government lifts it. Clearly, they're going to scale back the job seeker allowance at where it is now, but I think it should be higher than where it was before COVID began. And the other point I made was that we need to get people back into the workplace. So in Western Australia, we've opened up our economy far more than the eastern states. We've got far more businesses back. We've got our casino operating. We've got restaurants, cafes, pubs, bars, cinemas, theatres, you name it, all back to relative normal. And we've done that because we have a low rate of infection and the border arrangements in place. So I know the Commonwealth will scale back JobSeeker. Where it lands, I don't know, but I do think it should be higher than where it was 4 months ago, which I think even John Howard said was too low.
But what about, I find it amazing, everything's open, but no one's catching this bug.
Catching which boat, Graham?
No, the virus.
The virus.
The bug. Okay.
Yeah.
Not in Western Australia. No, we don't have any community spread. So we've opened up our businesses and our economy. We've got kids back at school. We've got public transport operating normally. We've got all our workplaces back. Obviously, it's had a dramatic effect on our economy, but what we've done is, as much as we can, get business back and operating. I mean, we were the state that kept our mining industry going. There was lots of people who wanted to shut everything. We didn't. But we've done that because we have the low infection rates and we also have the border arrangements, international, interstate. So we're confident that we've done the right thing here. We do know that the virus can come back, but we've done everything we can to protect our citizens and get jobs back.
Why wouldn't you allow people from New South Wales and those on the eastern seaboard, maybe barring Victoria, to come into WA as well and stimulate your economy even more, considering the fact that New South Wales has not had a community transmission for more than 2 weeks?
Well, when we started this, which was around 3 months ago, the border arrangement, it's simple and it's easily understood. And the advice we had, the legal advice we had, was that if it's based on health grounds, then we can do it. If we start discriminating against the states, discriminating between the states, that can cause some constitutional issues. The reality is that we don't want to create that sort of dog's breakfast of arrangements that are now in place in the eastern states, where different states have different arrangements and different arrangements depending basically upon which suburb you come from. So it's very simple, very easily understood. It's very strict and it's protected our citizens. In terms of our economy, Chris, we've got more people holidaying within Western Australia, particularly in the regions, I think, than we've ever seen before. And that's essentially because the average state income in Western Australia is much higher than the eastern states. So a lot of West Australians would ordinarily holiday over east or overseas. And what they're doing now is holidaying within Western Australia. So it's sort of a forced holiday arrangement within Western Australia that's ensuring our tourism industry, particularly in the regions, is doing well. OK, we might lose out on some tourists from the east, but New South Wales is open to Victoria. We can't be secure in terms of our health arrangements if we allow people to go east or people from the east to come here.
But they're not doing that. No.
Simple...
New South Wales have said to Victorians, you come over the border, you cop an $11,000 fine or you go to jail.
I have never heard that before, but if that's the case...
That's been announced today.
Is that a hard border? So they're putting in place a hard border with Victoria?
Not an official hard border, but they're saying you come over, you'll get an $11,000 fine or go to jail today.
Well, I'll have to research that one.
So if it's true, would you reconsider allowing New South Wales residents getting into WA, say, in the next month, within July?
Not at this point. I think I explained the reasons very clearly. We want to just have a safe, secure, easily understood arrangement in which we can open up our economy with confidence within our state, and that's what we've done.
Are you happy? Are you content with being the quarry? It's always amazed me that everyone tells you you've got to have secondary processing, you've got to have IT and all that sort of stuff. You're pretty reliant on the quarry, aren't you?
Graham, it's a very eastern states view of Western Australia. We have
I am from the eastern states, mate.
I know. A lot of people in the eastern states have very, I don't know if the word's prejudice, but very views of Western Australia that don't really accord with reality. We are obviously a mining state. We have a very strong mining industry. But within that, there's a huge amount of downstream processing that goes on. Tens and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs depend upon various forms and levels of downstream processing within our state. But then we have a much more diverse economy than that in terms of manufacturing, agriculture, in terms of tourism, in terms of education, a whole range of industries that are very strong and prominent within our state. So mining is important. Mining is very strong. Mining earns probably most of the nation's export income. But within Western Australia, we obviously have a more diverse economy than that. I invite you, Graham, come over and have a look, and I'll make sure I'll get you a proper examination of what we have on offer.
I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, I bet you will, Richo. I bet you will. Are you concerned, Mark McGowan, about this recent poll that said that 1/3 of WA businesses think they will survive? Only 1/3 think they'll survive when this pandemic is over. That doesn't paint a good picture of the economy in WA.
Again, I don't think that reflects the reality. Obviously, it is a very, very serious situation we face across Australia and across the world. But in terms of our country versus other countries, we're doing as well as anywhere across the world, or probably better in terms of rates of infection. What we've got to do is, within that and within the safety measures, get our economy open much more than we currently do. And that's what we're doing in Western Australia. I'd urge other states to have a look at what Western Australia and the Northern Territory are doing to get people back to work. But the way to ensure that businesses survive is to have strong economic activity and measures put in place to ensure that businesses can open in a COVID-safe way. That's what we're doing. I'd encourage other states to follow.
Richo?
What about water? How are you going forward? Colin Barnett had all these plans to bring water down from the Ord River. Quite grand plans. I'm not sure they were ever going to come about. What are your plans?
Well, we've got some pretty strong measures for water security within our state. Obviously, rainfall is a problem, and it's been declining now for 40 or 50 years. So climate change is real, and in the southern parts of the state, it's very, very pronounced. The drought here has not been as severe as in the eastern states. The drought in the eastern states, in terms of agriculture, has been more severe. Our issue has been around a lack of rainfall. Therefore, our dams have not been as full of them as they might have otherwise have been. We built 2 desalination plants. They've been operating effectively now for some years, and without those, we would have had some trouble. But obviously, water planning is going to be a big issue for years, decades, in fact, for the entirety of my lifetime and my children's lifetime into the future, because climate change is affecting everything. But good planning has meant we have sufficient supplies. The drought, of course, is something that is outside of our control. And obviously, we work with the Commonwealth in terms of support for farmers.
One last question, we'll let you go. The New South Wales Treasurer was at the National Press Club today pushing changes to the GST. Where do you stand on an increase or a change to the way we calculate GST in this country?
I heard that he has been doing 2 things. One is calling for a broad-based land tax on every household in New South Wales.
Instead of stamp duty.
Yeah, and I understand Victoria is heading in the same route. Call me old-fashioned, but I think putting thousands of dollars of bills on every household each year might be dampen confidence in our economy, reduce people's spending power. And if there's one thing we need now, above all else in coming years, it's confidence and consumers prepared to actually get out there and spend. So broad-based land tax, you can rule that out in Western Australia. In terms of a GST increase, well, we've just had a massive fight to get a fair share of GST that went on for 20 years. The idea that we go through some sort of process again that will dampen confidence, reduce people's spending power, and therefore and in which Western Australia continues to subsidise the other states, I'm not really up for that. just so you know, I mean, our subsidy to the other states is still very, very large. It's just not as large as it was.
Yeah.
And every dollar we put in, we'll only get 70 cents back. So putting Western Australia in the boat of giving more money to the east really isn't something that's on my agenda at this point in time.
Premier McGowan, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Graham.